Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Or welcome the first time if you're a new subscriber. Thank you to everyone who has been here since the beginning. Welcome to Wallaby Wonders, the Woo Sanctuary and Wildlife Sanctuary. Or if you're watching on YouTube, welcome to Delphi Dawn. Okay, we're here for a quick check-in with the Sage through the I Ching, through the Oracle cards. We have a question for today. I'm not going to do too much introductory stuff. You can read the description box for all the disclaimers. Our question for today that I cleared with the Sage is how to handle the profusion of disruptive events happening in the world. What we need to pay attention to. Or it says pay attention to this. I actually did quite labour over the wording of this. Because the Sage can be very specific about how the question is to be framed. So pay attention to this. How to handle the profusion of disruptive events happening in the world. So we'll start throwing coins and see what we get, shall we? Okay, so first throw we have 3 tails, which is 2, 4, 6. That's a moving yin line. Next one, 3, 6, 9. That's a moving yang line. And a moving yin line again. Wow, there's a lot of energy in this already. So far we have 3 moving lines. And now another moving line, moving yang line. So it's a very dynamic situation, full of energy and change already. Okay, so that is 2, 4, 7. That's a yang line that's stable. And now we have a moving yin line. So we have adversity as the first hexagram. Yip yip hooray. Don't we love a bit of adversary? Well, I guess it's good for discipline. Okay, so 47 anniversary is our first hexagram. And that has all these moving lines. So what does it change into? Let's see. First hexagram moving line 6 changes into a stable line. A stable yang line. Then the next one changes to a stable yin line. Then stable yang. Stable yin. Okay, what we end up with is family 37. I'll just double check that. See, yes, yes, yes. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that is correct. Is that the only hexagram, Sage? Is there another hexagram to go with this? Yes. Well, that's not a very strong yes. I might wait till later in case we need to get more specific. So, what we have here is hexagram 47 and hexagram 37. So we have adversity and family. Well, that's the names I remember them by. Now I cleared these 2 books today. This one here, which is written by Wu Wei. And this here, which has been recovered by my dear friend Gabby. It's the Blofeld edition. So that's a very, very traditional interpretation, a very old interpretation, and this one is much more modern, but it's nice and simple but not that short. Okay, so we might go to the traditional one first. So hexagram 47. I'll hold it up so you can see. That's our hexagrams. That's what they look like. So hexagram 47, which is all about exhaustion and adversity and having to just stick to your guns when you're tired and nobody even believes the word you say. Or you can't seem to convince people of the seriousness of the situation, something like that. And then it changes into family. So I'm going to guess that all this is bringing you closer to your family. And by family, I don't necessarily mean blood family or family, or it could be like helping you work out who is family, because sometimes a lot of us who are part of the collective have broken away from our blood families for one reason or another, or have had to even break away from our second surrogate families for one reason or another. There was a lot of heavy stuff that went down with groups in 2024 and a lot of parting of the ways. So maybe this has got something to do with finding your true family, potentially, or just becoming with working out some family difficulties, potentially. Or all this adversity is going to help you find your true family. This is just off the top of my head, just in a very simplified way. But we'll have a look at what the actual words on the page say, because there's always some little nuance in, because the I Ching is so carefully worded, and the little nuances can really be keys, I find. So even though I can just read a quick interpretation by looking at the hexagrams, because I've been reading the I Ching for so many years, it's still always good to check at least the moving lines. Okay, so here we go. In the Blofeld edition, hexagram 47 is called Adversity or Wariness. Now just turn the background music down a little bit. The streaming royalty-free beats from royalty-free vibes on Rumble. It's a really good channel for streaming. Let's see. Adversity leading to success thanks to persistence in a righteous course. Good fortune for the truly great. Freedom from error. Though words be spoken, they will not inspire confidence. So, yeah, it's just like whatever you say is kind of fall on deaf ears in some situations. Obviously not in all situations, but maybe that's why adversity is the first hexagram and family is the second hexagram, is because maybe your true family wouldn't be turning a deaf ear to what you have to say. And I don't mean blood family, I mean soul family. Although that could potentially be some members of your blood family or not. I'm just leaving it open to interpretation. Okay, so you have to deal with being tired, having to stick to doing the right thing, even if other people don't understand it and don't listen to you. And this will, and don't have confidence in you. You're still going to have to do the right thing and stick to it, but that will bring you success. Okay. The adversity is caused by something which lies hidden. Okay, so it's not the adversity that you're necessarily expecting, right? Because it's hidden. So all those adversities that you can see in front of you, that's not the one to worry about. It's the one that you can't see, which reminds me of my friend Rob's song. He says, the crocodile that gets you is the one you didn't see, not the three that you had your eyes upon. So, so the adversity is caused by something which lies hidden. Danger and joy are co-joined. So, that's interesting. That means that where your joy is, there's also danger. Or there's joy in doing dangerous things. Or there's some risk in what you want to do. It's not necessarily saying don't do it. It's just saying to be aware of the risks. He who attains success in spite of difficulty is indeed a superior man, or a superior human, we might say, and thus one of the truly great. So it's no big deal if you it's no big deal if you attain success in ordinary times or in good times, but if you attain success in times of great adversity, that makes you a truly great person. That righteous persistence will bring good fortune to such a, it says man, but I'm going to say person here, just to make it more general. That righteous persistence will bring good fortune to such a person is indicated by the firm line in the middle of the upper triagram. Since what is said will not be believed, it will be a waste of effort to talk. I said, so don't bother. Like, if somebody's not receptive to what you're trying to tell them, even if it's a warning, and, you know, so many of us chosen know all about this Cassandra situation where we can see situations way ahead before people are even waking up to it, and we'll be going, look out, and they're just others who just don't have that switched onness, will just be like, meh, I don't know what your problem is, you're overreacting, you're too worried, whatever. But if you do have those strong intuitive abilities, which you probably do if you click on things like this, it's just a reminder to trust yourself, even when other people will not believe you. Like, just don't bother wasting your energy and your breath trying to convince people who at this point in time are just not ready to hear it, they're not ready to see it, they're not ready to cognize it. You know, they're going to have to learn the hard way. So it's a waste of effort to talk, right? I think often during times of adversity, people are just too exhausted to be able to take more in, or if they're running on their reptile brain because they've been triggered, they're in a situation of stress, then they don't have the resourcefulness of the full frontal lobes. So that sort of processing ability is just not there. They don't have the bandwidth when they're too stressed, or if they've gotten down to just sort of reptilian basics like eat, sleep, mate, and all of that sort of thing. So if someone's operating in that space, you know, just recognize the early signs. Don't waste your energy, because according to this, you are going to be tired. It's a long haul. Whatever this is that's to be dealt with, the hidden danger, it's going to cause you to need to conserve your energy and use it wisely. So don't waste it on people who are just not receptive. You know, if you explain it to them and they don't believe you, don't bother trying to explain again, because they're just not ready. The hexagram symbolizes a marsh which no water appears. A marsh. It's like a mud pit, isn't it? The superior man risks his life to carry out his will. Okay, so that's saying that there's it's symbolized by a marsh in which no water appears, is because water is what you need for life, for, you know, to grow the plants and everything. So when no water appears, it's like just getting your basic needs met is going to be challenging, whether it be money, energy, space, whatever like that. There's some hidden challenge in the situation that's going to make it hard just to get those basic things going on. And it could be just physical energy. It just be just that you just have to work so hard that you'll just be tired. You're just not going to get as much sleep as you would like, or as much rest as you would like, or something like that. Okay, it's actually got a footnote there on that one, so I'll just check that, see what it says. Yeah, it's just saying that it's the water is gone deeper into the earth, so it's in the marsh. The water has gone deeper into the earth, so it's a lot more effort for those plants for their roots to reach down and get that water, and that's like a metaphor for how it is for you. Like the water is there somewhere, that water of life that you need, but you're just gonna have to stake your life on following your will, which is the next thing it says. The superior man risks his life to carry out his will. So, and there's the word risk again. So there is joy tied up in risks, and also your life, some risks are going to have to be taken to do what you want to do. And that's part of the whole thing of adversity. When it's adversity comes up, which is hexagram 47, comes after hexagram 46, which is ascending, promotion, which is the opposite situation, where it's like you barely have to do anything and you're just propelled forward, or you're lifted up very easily. This is the opposite situation, where you just have to work really hard for small gains, or just to stay afloat, or something like that. All right. Now, pussycat, are you right there? So you've got 6 in the first place. With dried branches entangling the lower part of his body, he enters a gloomy valley. For 3 years he encounters no one. What is said about entering a gloomy valley indicates darkness that will not be dispelled. Okay, and it's got a footnote there. I'll just check that footnote. It says, whoever receives this hexagram must resign himself to failure. Okay, so something there, some enterprise or whatever is just like, it's not going to work out. So rather than waste your energy fighting that, just accept it so that you can move forward. Right, and this situation that's not going to work out has some kind of gloomy valley vibe about it. Where, I can think of an example, might be like you get some cheap rental or something, but it's out in the middle of the boondocks, and nobody wants to come and visit you. That's a classic example of how a line like that might manifest, and you have to walk or drive kilometres and kilometres to the shop where the things are overpriced, or they don't have enough fruit and vegetables, or something like that. That's kind of hardship situation. Or maybe, where he enters a gloomy valley where he encounters no one. Another situation that could represent might be you move to an area where the employment rate's really low, or you just can't seem to make the connections that you need. So this is all that feeling of adversity. All right, so the next line is, so all this is like forewarned is forearmed. A lot of how the I Ching works is it's by giving you the heads up to a situation, so that when you step into it, you're already prepared and you're not freaked out by it, so that it becomes easier to manage and get through. And then it doesn't work out to be so drastic as it would have been. You recognize the situation, you go, this is that situation now, I just gotta, conserve my energy except that this is about the times or the situation. It's not about me, something like that. Okay, so 9 for the second place. Difficulties arise through indulgence in food and drink. Okay, so that's fairly clear, isn't it? I don't need to explain that to you. A vermilion sash wearer, a man of very high rank, appears. It is advisable to utilize this opportunity to offer a sacrifice. Okay, so even though you may have very little, you may be down to just bare bones in the cupboard, or, you know, comparatively, it's all relative. Even though you're in a difficult situation and you don't have much, this man or a person of very high rank appears, it is advisable to use this opportunity to offer sacrifice. So you may have to give something up to make this guest comfortable or welcome or something like that. But that will be, even though you are potentially suffering adversity, that sacrifice is still well advised, even though it may seem to work against you. So what's the footnote there? Number 5. It says, an imaginative reconstruction of the story lying behind this passage is that a man... Are you right there, pussy? A man wasting the last of his substance in riotous living receives at his table an important guest, and by making a sacrifice to him or through his good offices dispels his misfortune. If we are suffering owing to our own extravagance, the time has come to emulate the hero of this tale. Okay, so that's sort of asking you how much of your situation is self-created. I think we have a situation here. I'm just going to... Do we have a situation with the cat? Are you right there? Okay, we'll see how we go. So making a sacrifice to the man and the... I'll be back in a minute, collective. Okay, so restless cat dealt with. So making this sacrifice to the person of high rank may help to dispel some of this I'm looking for the right word. What's the right word? It's like stagnancy or something caused by an overindulgence in food and drink. This can be symbolic too. Like, it doesn't have to be in the 3D world that you make the sacrifice. It's not, although it very often is literal in the I Ching. Sometimes it's astonishing how literal it can be. Like, many a time I have had a reading and I've taken it as a metaphor or analogy, and it literally turns out exactly as written on the page, and the opposite can be true too. So it could actually be offering someone your last delicious food or something like that at the crucial time, or, you know, making someone very welcome even though you can't actually afford it, it seems. Or it could be more like as a metaphor. It might be suggesting that to do some fasting could help, for instance, or if you're indulging in smoking or drinking or other substances, to leave them aside, to have a break for a while to get clarity, or to just leave them behind altogether if you're capable of that. What else could it be? It's any potential thing that you're doing as an indulgence rather than something that's a true need. That can also include sexual intimacy, things like that, gambling, anything like that that's an indulgence that's not actually necessary at the time. So yeah, to fast from these things or to give a portion to somebody else instead of having it yourself may help to restore the balance and help you get through these difficulties. I'm just getting a little flash here that overeating does actually make you tired, or over smoking, over drinking, over any of these over things. Whew, it's warm in here. Any of these over things do actually make you quite tired. I'll just open the door. So yeah, just cutting back on these indulgences will give you the energy that you need to get through the time of adversity. And that's quite a strong suggestion. And if you can't necessarily fast, say for example for 24 hours because of a medical condition, or you're just not used to fasting or something like that, or abstaining, if it's a case of abstaining from something, then even, do what you can. If you can't go, if you have some kind of a habit that's causing problems, you're eating too many cakes, you're drinking too much coffee, smoking too much, drinking too much, and any of these things too much. The internet is actually coming. I actually got a flash about that. I'll just finish the thought I'm on and I'll talk about the flash. So if you can't manage a 24-hour or 2-day fast or whatever, even just going for an hour or two and doing it more frequently may be a way to shift that hardship. And it's definitely suggesting that some kind of a sacrifice may be a part of this moving through this situation. So what was that flash I just had? Oh, about the internet. As I was preparing to do the reading, as I often do, I shut down all the devices and turn off all the Wi-Fi and all the things that are emitting electromagnetic smog, and just let myself be in the comparative quiet. I wouldn't call it silence because there's noises outside, but just in that vacant space without the internet spewing in and taking up all the psychic air. And just how lovely that is. Like, even if you just do it for 20 minutes or half an hour or an hour or something, that might be enough to make the difference. And I am actually getting that having the screen time is one of the major addictions of our time. And now I'm also remembering a flash that I got as I was meditating to do this reading, a flash that I got while preparing to do the reading. I got specifically for someone, or maybe quite a few people in this collective, as part of navigating the difficulties of our time, is to be aware of how predictable you're becoming to those who are watching you on the internet, even if it's just the AI watching you, or whoever may be watching. I mean, it could be just the advertisers. I mean, we all know that we're always being watched and tracked by cookies, by government agencies who are, scanning for terror or whatever like that. Any of these things, you're always pretty much under surveillance as an unfortunate part of our modern existence. And that turning these things off And just interrupting the algorithm by doing something that's off the digital reservation is a really healthy thing to do every now and then. And that somebody here specifically, I got the flash to tell you guys that somebody here really needs to do that a little bit. Just turn off the phone, all your phones or your computers or whatever, and just go off the digital reservation for a little while. And another thing I got also was, as a flash just before I started this reading, was to let somebody, if you've got somebody in your life who you can trust, give them your phone just for an hour, half an hour or something, and let them mess up your algorithm. Or just go and do something on, if you're watching YouTube for an example, and you normally always watch this kind of videos at this time of day or whatever, just go and do something completely different, like you're a different person. Just go and mix up your algorithm, and this is going to help somehow. Maybe because it will allow some information through that wouldn't have gotten to you any other way. And another thing was about them observing you. It's important not to become too predictable. That was the exact sentence, actually. Was it's important not to become too predictable at the moment or for the next little while. And that is important to somebody in particular there who's, sorry, as a viewer who's watching here, that is important not to be too predictable all of the time. And this relates to your digital behavior. And I didn't get any reason about why that was, but you probably have an inkling of why. If it's for you, you have a sense of why. A lot of people are also being, like as I have been, electronically stalked for 6 years. So sometimes if you're in a situation like that, it's just good to just throw your stalkers off the scent and go and do something different so they don't know what's going on. Like go and do something different digitally, I mean. You know, if you always watch, let's just say, this kind of sport, go and watch that kind of sport that you never watch. If you always watch sports, go and do the theatre instead, or vice versa. Just do something the opposite of what you would normally do, just for a little while to mix up your algorithm. For some reason, that's really important. Maybe there's just one tiny bit of information that you wouldn't have caught on to otherwise. And it might be just something as simple as a title on a tile that helps you to see things or think differently, and that helps you, you know, spot an opportunity that you might have missed or a danger that you might have missed. So that was definitely there for someone. Back to the reading. Okay, so this is a particularly sad situation. Well, I just know this feeling. The whole hexagram's not much fun, but here we go. 6 for the third place. Faced by rock-like difficulties and with naught to lean upon but thistles and briars. So you're in a, you know, between a rock and a hard place, basically, in a very uncomfortable situation. He entered his dwelling but could not find his wife, misfortune. And there's a footnote there which says, this line may be taken to presage insuperable difficulties. The word wife does not necessarily have any special application to our case. It can be seen as can be seen for this commentary on the line. So the wife is not necessarily your literal wife. It could just be the thing that you seek to partner with, or the person or the situation, the thing that your project, your creative baby, whatever, the thing that brings you. The wife is supposed to bring you happiness and comfort and stability. So if you and emotional nurturing, so you enter your dwelling and can't find the thing that makes you feel at home and loved and safe and well. That's a feeling of the kind of adversity that can be encountered. I'm so glad that this hexagram changes to something much better, because it's really not much fun. Okay. He's not finding his wife symbolizes bad luck. So, just not getting the connection that you need, the emotional warmth, that feeling of homeliness. And it, could symbolize, obviously, relationship difficulties. But, so, in relation to the second line, it could be saying, like, I'm just getting this as a flash now. It's not necessarily how you'd interpret it, but this is what I'm getting. Is that if you spend too much time indulging and you have a partner or a child or a project or whatever, it could be, something like a garden or a cat. It doesn't really, the specifics are not important, but if you're overindulging, then you may be missing important cues or connections or opportunities, important moments with your wife. It's just like if you're drinking too much, then you're not going to pick up on those emotional cues that and the sensitivity that you need to show to your wife or partner. You'd be spending the money on the alcohol rather than on nourishing your relationship with her. For example, this is a part of the problem with this overindulgence, is that it sucks energy, attention, focus, money, space, time away from the things that really matter to you, like your wife. And the reason why that's supposed to be such a bad misfortune is because it's, generally speaking, your partner, your wife, your husband is the one that you can rely and turn to through thick and thin, through sickness and health and richness and poorness, or however it goes. So when you don't even have that, that is a lonely and tough place to be. So it's like there's this sort of warning by the second line about the third line, not to overindulge, so because you could end up in this situation where you can't even connect with your partner, your companion animal, your project, your whatever it is that means so much to you, that gives you, it could even be your connection with God. You could, if you're married to God, as many devotional people are, if you are indulging too much in earthly pleasure, then even something as simple as food, you start putting it before God. You start putting your relationship with these earthly indulgences before God, and that is sure to leave you sooner or later between a rock and a hard place. Anytime you put something before God, or whatever you understand the highest principle of goodness to be, you put something else, make that more important than the highest good or the highest God, then you're going to end up between a rock and a hard place. That's just the way it plays out sooner or later. Okay, fourth line. Now this is where things start turning around for the better. Okay, so you're going through all this. It could be that you're overindulging in, like I certainly know that I drink more coffee than I should when I'm stressed, or if I'm emotionally upset or something like that. Like I don't need to be drinking that much coffee. But if I'm stressed or hurt or something, then I might lean on the coffee to try and cheer me up, or to get me through the day, or to help me think straight. So that's part of the thing, like it's that whole domino effect of, well, things are tough, so you indulge in what you can to comfort yourself, but then the indulgence causes further problems. It's like the knock-on effect. At least here in line 4, we get to where things start to turn around. A slow arrival, trouble in a golden carriage. Shame, but not for long. The tardy arrival implies that our willpower is at a low ebb. However, Though the line is not suitably placed, it does not stand alone. So it's saying friends are coming to help you, or someone. It may not be friends, someone or something. It could be the sage, it could be God, it could be your ancestors, it could be just a change in circumstances, a change in the economy, a change in... It's probably actually a person bringing good news. It often means that. Like in my personal experience, when I've had this line before, it often means that you've almost given up hope and then somebody brings you some news or piece of information that makes you go, oh, I don't need to worry. Thank goodness. Oh, it's okay. Okay? So that's what that line basically means. I'll just read. It's got some footnotes in it. I'll just read. So trouble in a golden carriage means... Trouble in a golden carriage coupled with shame suggests that we get into difficulty through our presumptions or through placing too much confidence in someone of much higher station than ourselves. Okay, so that's interesting because it's a seeming contradiction between the second line and the fourth line, because the second line it says about making a sacrifice to the man in the vermilion's robes, which means a person of high rank. So it's saying actually that you've got to do that, but that you shouldn't place too much hope in that person of high rank. It's probably just more important to do the sacrifice without worrying about results. Somehow that's spiritually important. Maybe it's just about finding the resourcefulness inside yourself. Often when we think we're doing things really tough and we're asked to give more, we don't realise we can give more until we actually dig deep and find that more that we give, and then we somehow by giving that more we felt richer than we did before we gave it, because we were able to find it to give. And that could be energetic, it could be money, it could be whatever. You're going to have to dig deep. Okay, so this lane is not suitably placed, it does not stand alone. And it says, at least we may hope for a little aid from others. So there will be some small helps coming from others in this time of difficulty that will help you get over the line. Okay, now we have line 6. Now this line sounds really bad at first when you hear it, but it's actually a really good line. So it says, 6 for the top place. Entangled with creepers and tottering uneasily, he voices regrets for his actions. Provided regret is felt, to advance will bring good fortune. The entangling creepers are indicated by the unsuitable position of this line. When our actions have been regrettable, feeling regret is a means to obtain good fortune. So the first step in solving a problem is acknowledging that you have a problem, and possibly that you may have done something wrong or helped to create it, probably through overindulgence, which has been coming up as a bit of a theme actually ever since I started doing readings on Mumble. It's been coming up as a theme. So that's an ongoing issue that our collective is dealing with. Finding that balance because a lot of us have also deprived ourselves in some areas. So maybe this I just got the flash. You may be overeating or over smoking, over drinking, spending too much screen time, whatever your overindulgence is a way of compensating for something else. So maybe have a look at what it is that makes you feel the need to overindulge, whether it be stress or worry or loneliness or just wanting to escape. If whatever it is that makes you want to overindulge, maybe if you do some self-examination, look inside about why you're doing that. What are you trying to soothe by overindulging? And maybe try and deal with that in a more healthy way. That might unlock some more energy to help you get through, because a lot of this thing with adversity is just really a lack of energy and resources. And each of these little suggestions is to help you unlock a bit more of that back burner reserve energy, or to take a load off. Oh, that's what I was getting. Like, if you overindulge in food or drink, that's like a load to you physically. Not only do you have to carry that weight around in your stomach, if it's rich food or alcohol or caffeine or something like that, then that's hard work for your liver and kidneys. And when your liver and kidneys have to work really hard, then you get tired and cranky. So this is how fasting can actually, even though you think that you're going to get energy from food by taking in more calories, sometimes you actually need to do the opposite. And just, even if it's just a couple of hours fasting or whatever, drinking your extra water, that gives your liver and kidneys a break so that they can clean themselves out a bit, or if it's your smoking, then, just giving it a rest for a while so your lungs can recover, because just having to cope with these indulgences is going to make you tired. It's going to bring your immunity down psychologically, physically, and all that. It's just weight you don't need. It's here we come. This relates to a reading we did 6 months ago about jettisoning. I have trouble saying the word. Jettisoning. You need to jettison the extra weight. And some of these things are causing you weight. So to let go of them, you're going to have more energy naturally. Or more space, more time, more money. Okay. So the entangling vines. So feeling regret is when our actions have been regrettable, feeling regret is a means to obtain good fortune. Okay, so you're not going to change your behavior until you actually acknowledge that it needs changing. So that's another way of actually lifting the heavy burden that you carried through the time of adversity. Is don't lie to yourself. Lies are heavy weight. They're a lot to carry around. So even if they're tiny little lies, that over time, if you have to travel, you say it's just a little lie, it doesn't weigh much, but you travel a long way with it, then over time that's used a lot of extra energy. And I'm just talking about lying to yourself, that, I'm not having that much sugar when you're having 10 sugars a day, say, for example. It's these little white lies we tell ourselves. And so this is saying, like, if we can just deal with some of this, then we're instantly going to start to turn our fortune around. So I guess because there's a lot of disruption in the world, just going back to the original question, how to handle the profusion of disruptive events happening in the world, what we're actually getting is to lighten our own load personally, so that you're you're not carrying all your own junk on top of, like when you have to move quickly or whatever it is, or go through the eye of the needle or whatever it is. You're not carrying all this extra junk that you don't need to, because it's a weight to carry over time. With when the world is coming at you with all these different events, you need a clear mind to be able, and a nice clean body to deal with them. and a clear conscience too. So there's footnotes in this one too. And then footnote says, we shall certainly suffer, but sincere regret will stand us in good stead. So, you know, just admitting to yourself, or if it's to somebody else, if that's required. I think probably in this it's more likely because it's talking about indulgences and stuff and you having adversity, that it's probably just yourself you would need to admit something to. You need to admit you've been spending too much time on the screen, or not exercising enough, or drinking too much. You know, I don't need to go through the list again. Just admitting that to yourself and just starting to tackle it as best as you can. That's going to give you a lot more energy to get through the time of adversity. It's going to give you a lot more bandwidth in your head to deal with the profusion of things that are happening. You know, you don't have to deal with your own shit as well as the shit that's coming at you from the rest of the world. Okay, so hexagram 37. Oh no, actually we'll read the 47 from here just to get more clarity. Okay, so this is a more modern interpretation. Here we go. This one calls hexagram 47 oppression. This is a time of adversity and oppression. So straight up, that's the kind of disruption that we're having to deal with at the moment. Adversity and oppression. If your question is about taking action, taking the action will bring on oppression and adversity. If your question is about a condition or situation that already exists, follow the guidance that follows to achieve success. Times of oppression and adversity can lead you to feel exhausted and depressed, but taking the appropriate action, you can take every turn of events, no matter how dire, and out of them create good fortune. You should be so certain of your ability to turn adversity into good fortune that you will stake your very life on your conviction. So those are the kind of things you want to be doing, is the things that you're have a lot of conviction on, and that you would stake your life. So only what is good and right. Once you have developed yourself and formed your character, you will be tested in the fire of life. The fire of life is the universal force that endlessly shapes and alters you until you come to realize who you are in the relationship to the rest of the universe and learn to act accordingly. Okay, so I guess the adversity is happening because there's something we've yet to learn about ourselves and our place in the universe. Usually the altering process takes the form of adversity, and as far as outward appearances are concerned, it may seem to be working against you when it actually is working for you. Okay, so something's happening that feels adverse, but you are to remember that it's happening for you, not to you. To see how each of those instances for what they are, opportunities for growth and improvement, is the way of the sage. Seeing them in the light will bring you an amazing change in your outlook, and you will then see all the obstacles and adversities as opportunities, and you will consequently lose your resentment of them. And then the next hexagram is family. I'll just read the traditional interpretation. I don't think family needs too much explaining, but we'll just quickly read the short and traditional interpretation. So, Following this advice brings you closer to your family-like situation, whether it be your soul family or just you and your companion animal or your partner or whatever it is. Or just that nice energy of family, whatever that means to you. Following the advice of the previous hexagram will bring you into this nice situation of family, which is a good and safe situation. It's got no moving lines that suggest anything bad. It's just a good, wholesome, safe family-like vibe. So have faith. If you follow that advice, you'll be right, okay? The family. Women's persistence brings reward. Commentary on the text. Okay, so this is all a bit sexist because it's ancient, right? But we can just talk about yin and yang energies, okay? So it doesn't necessarily have to be women per se, but you know, the yin energy. Women's appropriate place is within, men's without. So we'll say yin is within, yang is without, okay? Because it's not necessarily about gender. It's about energy. When men and women keep to their proper places, they act in accord with heaven's great norm. Among the members of a family, there are dignified master and mistress, whom we term mother and father. When father, mother, sons, elder and younger brothers all act in a manner suited to their various positions within the family, when husbands play their proper role and wives are truly wifely, the way of the family runs straight. It is by the proper regulation of each family that the whole world is stabilized. So it's just, you know, about playing your proper role within a unit and knowing your place, right? The hexagram symbolizes wind rising from the fire. The superior man's speech is full of substance and he behaves with constancy. So all this adversity is helping you to learn how to take your proper place within the cosmic family. Let's say that. Okay. So the main thrust of this is advice about how to handle the profusion of disruptive events happening in the world, what to pay attention to. It's mostly about cleaning up your act in whatever way you can. You know, making sure you're exercising properly, eating properly, drinking your water, sleeping, not overindulging in substances, screens, gambling, sensual pleasures, just leading a clean and dignified life. And it's a period of hard work ahead. It's just basically you're going to have to slug your way through this, but you're going to land in a better place. It's going to bring you closer to your family, and it's going, whatever you consider your family to be, because we all know that a lot of the chosen were an attempted sacrifice in 2024 and had to find a new family. But it will bring you closer to your true soul family. Yes. We're just cleaning up your act and being disciplined and making these sacrifices, possibly fasting. And possibly even doing things like giving to charity, or, you know, giving to someone who's, even though you're under adversity, try to give to someone who's worse off than you, and someone make a sacrifice to someone also who is in a higher position than you, but without any expectation of reward. Just give the sacrifice because it's the right thing to do at the time. Because you know deep in your heart. Now, this is not just saying just give your money away, hey, willy-nilly to everyone. And let your energy be drained when you're actually already under adversity. It's not about that. But it's about recognizing the appropriate time to give your energy to someone of higher rank or someone worse off than you. Either way, probably in this situation, you're going to have to do both. You're going to have to make sacrifices to those above and below you with the right attitude at the right time. And you're just going to have to, check in and trust your own guidance on that one. You can always ask for help if you ask to be guided if you're unsure. So, we'll just get a couple of cards for helpful and not helpful. I've got Crystal Oracle here. I'll take a card for helpful and a card for not helpful. Give us a bit more colour and context. It's a fairly clear reading, really. It's just saying stick to basic clean family living, and that's going to see you through, I think. Just a kind of fairly traditional kind of a lifestyle. There's a time when there's, for everything there is a time, and this is not the time for ostentation. It's not the time for partying. It's not the time for extravagance. It's a time for trimming the fat. It's a time for getting your health together, for sticking close to your chosen family, having a good routine, but also interrupting the algorithm occasionally, just, to keep the sniffers off the trail from knowing the colour of your thoughts before you even think them. I think that's important to keep a little bit of freedom for your mind in these disruptive and dangerous and difficult times. Make sure you keep a little bit of yourself for yourself. There we go, yes. I just got that's somehow connected to this. That's why you need to... Because all these indulgences, there's these foods, drinks, substances, screen time, whatever they are that you're indulging in. It could be shopping. Your indulgence might be buying fast fashion. It might be makeup. It might be fancy things for your car. It doesn't have to be food and drink. Like, I'm just getting that right now, that for some people who may be watching this, they may have, they may spend too much on their credit card when they shouldn't have. It could be something like that. Anyway, the point I was going to get to is that all of these things that you indulge in when you overindulge, they take you further away from yourself. And it's yourself that's actually going to see you through this. It's yourself that you can depend upon. It's your inner truth that's going to give you the right ideas. And all these things is just extra baggage that's making it harder for you. Or it's just stuff you have... If you've got a wheelbarrow and you've got to push it up a hill, because the times of adversity is basically like pushing ish uphill, right? That's what it feels like, is whether it be physically, emotionally, financially, time-wise, whatever it is, you've just got ish to push up the hill in a barrow, and each one of these indulgences, whether it be shopping, I don't need to list them again, whatever your indulgence is, it's just weight in the barrow that you have to push up the hill. So if you can jettison some of that weight, it's just going to make it easy to get back to your family, where you will be safe, where you have that nurturing space for the yin energy that's protected by the yang, which we were talking about in the two previous readings. We talked a bit about how the yin needs to be protected by the yang so that the yin can be get into that receptive space from, where all these great creations come from. To receive the cosmic inputs. To receive and conceive, you need that dark, receptive space. And for that to happen, for that vulnerability to happen, the yang needs to protect the yin, surround it, and keep it safe. So all of these indulgences get in the way of the yang being able to do that. And it also gets in the way of the yin being ready to receive. So you just don't need to carry the extra credit card debt, you don't need the extra screen time, you don't need that extra cigarette, you don't need the extra coffee, you don't need the extra alcoholic beverage, whatever it is. And just letting go of some of it is really going to help you get through these disruptive times. Even if you can only let go of a bit of it, each bit that you let go of is really going to ease your way through this. It's just less stuff to worry about, which means you can get more centered and find your way through this adversity. It's all happening to burn off the impurities, I think, anyway. That's what it seems like from the particular lines that we got in this. It's just, yeah, just get rid of anything that's a bit impure for you. If it's becoming a burden, if it's starting to use you rather than you using it, it's time to put it back in its place. The credit card debt is really, spending on the credit card is really just jumping out in my mind at the moment. That is not what I would have normally interpreted from this hexagram. I mean, especially not using the traditional thing, because they didn't have credit cards back in ancient China. But really getting it strongly that for some of the collective watching this, that their indulgence is in shopping. Or it could be, even if with or without the credit card, just that extra spending, you may want to put that aside for your family. Instead of buying that extra pair of shoes. Oh, well, shoes is pretty practical. Let's do something less practical. You know, rather than buying that extra little luxury, you might want to just pay off your debt or put some money in the envelope under the bed or whatever it is you do. Save for a rainy day. It's a good time to save for a rainy day because there is a disruption implied in all of this. Oh! No, I have to... Did I read it to you? I'm not sure if I did read hexagram 47, line 6 here. I just got to check if I read it to you because it's very important about how the vines are entangling in line 6 and that you actually have the opportunity to break free from something that's been holding you back for a long time. Oh yeah. We didn't read this, did we? It says, this time of oppression is drawing to a close, but you have become so caught up in your past adversities and difficulties that you are failing to perceive the arrival of better times. Yeah, that's what I like. That's the turning point. So this adversity goes on for quite a while, but at some point you realize that it's not going on anymore, but you've just gotten used to that it's happening, and you need to actually perceive when the adversity is coming to an end. Like, as much as you need to adapt to the adversity the whole time that it's happening, you also need to realize when it's over and welcome it being over. So you're failing to perceive the arrival of better times and therefore failing to take the appropriate action. If you take a fresh look at your situation and initiate positive action, good fortune will be yours. Okay, yeah, that's really a sort of it's one of those go stay kind of things, because it starts the hexagram going, you take this action that's going to lead you straight into adversity, and then there's this whole thing of adversity, and then there's this thing saying, well, the adversity's over now. So it's very clearly saying that you are going to go through some adversity, but it's set to refine you and burn off some of these bad habits. Or, it could be just so that, you just discipline yourself and pay off a bit of debt or something like that, or save a bit of money. But, so you go through this period of adversity, the situation is going to happen where you have to ride out this bit of adversity, but then it's not going to last that long. And when, help is coming, at first there's just a little bit of help from friends, and then eventually it's just like the time has played itself out, and you've worked through all the mental issues, and you've gotten through the different physical situations, whatever they are, and it's just the time is changing, just as it can't be night forever, it eventually becomes dawn. And it's basically saying that it's like you've been in adversity so long, or when you go through this adversity, don't forget to recognize the end of the adversity and the hope, the sun rising at the end of it, of a long hard night of the soul, the dark night of the soul. Look out for that sun rising in the morning, because it is surely coming, and that is leading into this beautiful, harmonious, family-like situation. Okay, so, yeah. I'm glad I went back and read that. That was really important. Okay, so helpful. I've got a frog in my throat. Helpful for our collective. Please, Sage, speak through the crystal cards. Okay, Obsidian Snowflake, which is basically about being creative. So, I'm just flashing on another message I was getting before I actually started the reading, about how some of you are actually unnecessarily holding back from things that you really enjoy doing for some reason. And why are you doing that? And now I'm getting it. The reason some of you aren't doing some of the things you want to do is just because of some indulgence you have. Like maybe you really want to play more guitar, but you watched one too many things on YouTube, and so you didn't go and play your guitar today. Or maybe you wanted to go for a jog, but you ate one too many cupcakes and felt sick, and so you didn't go for a jog. It's just like, so this Snowflake Obsidian is about being creative. And I'm getting, so this is saying what is the really helpful energy. And in combination with this hexagram and all the moving lines, adversity, oppression or whatever, I'm getting that it could be just something as simple as, just that too much of whatever it is you're indulging with. It's just getting in between you and your creativity. And the creativity is partly what's going to help you get through this. Right? Maybe something that you create is actually going to help you out financially, or help you make connections, or you just make friends, or just the sheer enjoyment of creating is going to give you the joy that lifts you, that gives you the energy to get through another day. But why are you not doing the thing that you love to do? Probably because you've just wasted time doing things that aren't so important to you, or wasted money on the things that aren't so important to you. And for this collective, according to the Sage, being creative is very important for you right now. That's what's going to help you through this adversity, is being less indulgent and more creative. And this particular card has all this stuff about projects that you might have started and left unfinished, or that they're sort of on the back burner or you've left them under a pile or something like that, and that it might be a good time to, Or maybe you just even had the idea and you didn't even act on it, but you've had this idea for a long time and you've been meaning to get around to it, and it's saying, this is actually the perfect time for that, to do those creative projects that you've been putting off. And that is going to help you through this adversity. Okay, that's pretty straightforward and clear. More creativity, less indulgence. And that creativity could lead you to either financial or emotional wealth. But it's particularly saying it's a good time for it. It's a really good time for, I mean, when isn't it a good time to be creative? I guess when you need to do other things, I don't know. I guess sometimes there's things that are more important than being creative. But at the moment, being creative is very, very important for coping with the disruption. Oh, so yeah, yes, and a creative response to the disruption that's happening. So pay attention to this. Make sure you are being creative pretty much on a daily basis. That's going to help you. And, oh yes, it'll be a positive feedback loop. All these cards are jumping out on the floor. What did we get here? Okay, I'm going to take them because they directly relate to what we were saying. We've got amethyst here. Like, I was only going to take one card, but we've got two. So amethyst is about having that protection. It's like third eye clarity. It's very cleansing. When you have an amethyst and you have lots of crystals and you want to cleanse certain crystals, you can just cleanse them by putting, if you've got an amethyst block, you can put the other crystals on the amethyst for a cleaning. So this is all about having a pure, clear third eye or crown chakra. And this one, agate here, that's a warning card. It's a really strong warning. It's saying that someone or something is not what it seems. So what it's basically saying is pay attention. You need to be clear enough and alert and sober enough to perceive something here that's not quite as it seems. And that, I'm just thinking of how it said there was something hidden, that the adversity comes from something hidden. And this card, agate, is all about things that aren't quite as they seem. So closer examination is needed. And, you know, you're just going to need to be a bit more sober, I think. And people can get off their face on ideas. They can get off their face doing whizzy-dizzies and hyperventilating, or they can just get carried away with an idea. Just looking for the book for this one. No. Anyway, the amethyst is just about clearing this here, your third eye and crown chakra, making sure that you're protected, sober, and not letting these dodgy energy someone or something is not what it seems. So of course read the small print on any business thing. You know, just trust your intuition. If someone's trying to sell you something that's too good to be true, or it's like, look out for lies, basically. There's some lie here somewhere with someone or something. It's definitely, what is the main message of the card? Someone or something is not as it proclaims itself to be, or themselves to be. That's why you need to keep your psychic protection up and keep your clarity. Keep that sort of third eye clear and open, and be on the alert with Bert for the deception around you. There is a deception hidden somewhere around you. obviously it's not out front, otherwise it wouldn't be needing to draw your attention to it. You'd already be aware of it. But it's saying, well, it's actually, this card back actually does say that you knew all along, but maybe other people didn't realise it. So this deception, you might have actually been onto it for a while. And maybe you told other people, and that they didn't believe you, like it says in that in the main text of Hexagram 47. It says about how words are spoken, but nobody believes you, and you stake your life on following what you know to be true. So that kind of reinforces that there's something that you're aware of that maybe other people around you haven't cottoned on to yet. You trust your intuition above all else. This is like, really beware of the cheater, the sweet talker, the rip-off merchant. It's just some kind of lie there. There's lies around you somewhere. And if you're not alert enough, you're going to miss them, and if you are alert enough, you will spot them, and you'll be the one to help other people see it. But it's just going, trust your intuition. If something doesn't feel right, if you have questions about something, then there's probably a good reason for that. Investigate further. Don't necessarily take this thing on face value. Alright, and one from the Dakini Oracle. Just one. Very long reading. I might even just let you just make up your own conclusions from the picture rather than reading the big long interpretation from the book. Okay, one jumped. What have we got? Earthbound. Okay, so that's kind of like that Saturnian energy. It's like being earthly matters caught up in the day-to-day 3D stuff, limitations and all that sort of stuff. So that's just reinforcing that theme of adversity. And this one too, the agate. It's like there are people, these lies keep people trapped and earthbound in their... Like, there's nothing wrong with totally enjoying your physical senses. I mean, they're gifts. They're absolute gifts to us. But it's all about the balance. It's not just all about what you can eat, wear, buy. It's not all about power and money. These are very earthly concerns, and you can't take them with you when you go. And that's the energy of adversity. There's, people around who... The earthbound energy, it's just all that low vibrational stuff that makes you feel oppressed and like you have to be aware of shysters and stuff like that. So that's just reconfirming that energy of adversity, which it says quite clearly here, that you do get through this, and the dawn does break once you... It's almost like just having a particular perception. It's like you labour under a misapprehension for quite some time, working through these different issues, and at some point you realise that you're not as trapped as, because the images that you've got vines wrapped around you and everything, and so you feel trapped. But at some point you realise, they're only vines. They're not like metal chains. They're just vines. So, of a little bit of wrestle, you can break yourself free. It's not like you're chained with a padlock with big thick chains. It's not the kind of situation that you can't escape. It's just a slight difference in perception that actually, it's like basically the truth will set you free. Once you spot the lie, you won't be controlled by it anymore. And maybe the lie could be something that you tell yourself. It could be something as simple and silly as, I need 3 coffees before I can go to work. When that's just not true. You'd be better off just having 1 good coffee and doing going for a walk and a few deep breaths or something. And, once you break through that lie, then you also don't spend the extra money on the coffee. This is just a metaphor. You don't spend the extra money on the coffee. Your liver doesn't have to spend the extra time processing all that caffeine, and so it's just a lot less to deal with. You've got more money, you've got more time, your liver's not as burdened, and then, and you're not feeling crappy and cranky and like your nervous system is overwrought. And so something as simple as just going, look, admitting that to yourself, maybe I have been overindulging in coffee. Maybe I don't need to have 15 sugars a day, maybe 5 will do, whatever it is. And just working on that is what's gonna, it's your choice to be tangled in a few vines, or to break this thing that's really actually quite easy to break. You just wrestle your arm a little bit this way, and the vines will come loose and you can go free. Once you acknowledge the truth to yourself about this situation, it's going to free you. And the gift to you will be a much better connection with your chosen family and all that brings, which is a lot of stability, that great environment for nurturing creative ideas. I think that's great. It's actually a very happy ending. I'll just throw the dice just for a quick top off. One more thing to top us off. What does the collective need to know about all of this? What's the overall theme? 6. A little gift will soon be yours. So this is all a gift to you. This adversity that you will go through, it won't be enjoyable necessarily. Because until you recognize what it actually is that's causing the adversity and face it, that it's just going to continue to be unpleasant. And I mean, probably some of it's going to come from outside conditions as well, because it's a mixed bunch within this hexagram. But just jettisoning your own unnecessary baggage is just going to lighten the load a lot for you and enable you to move through the situation to the so that you can be in the family room, being creative, and possibly even gaining abundance of one sort or another off these creations that you've been putting off. This creation that you've been putting off for quite some time already. So yeah, when you get around to doing these creative projects, it's going to cheer you up a lot, and it's going to give you the energy to get through, and it's probably going to give you some ideas for dealing with those adversities that don't come from within. And that's why it's a gift. The gift is that the adversity refines you and exposes some untruth and frees you from it. But yes, you do. There's this warning aspect in there. There's somebody basically who would like to steal something from you, whether it be your reputation, your time, your money, your energy, your spot. And, it could be even you doing it to yourself potentially because of the nature of this hexagram. So don't lie to yourself. And watch out for other people lying to you. And, you do actually deep down know the truth about this situation, even if nobody will believe you. You trust that intuition of yours, because in all likelihood, it's very, very good. The kind of people who watch readings like this, they're nearly always very intuitive, and you can trust your intuition. If it doesn't feel right, it's probably not right. Trust that. And the truth will set you free. Even if nobody else believes you. You stick to your guns, collective. You'll be right. It's all gonna work out all right. It looks like a bit of a haul, to be honest, but it's landing in a very nice conclusion. So, pull your socks off, whistle while you work, get on with it. You'll be right. It's gonna be a slog, but you'll be right. You will be okay. You're protected. And the other beautiful thing is that, some of you may be feeling very alone after being sacrificed or attempted to be sacrificed, or some variation on that theme for 2024. Like, the nice part about this is that there is that family doesn't have any moving lines, which means it's quite solid. Whichever family situation you land in, it's quite solid and good, and it allows this creative expression that brings reward and satisfaction. Both creative satisfaction and possibly other kinds of rewards coming in. Okay, so that's how you're going to handle the profusion of disruptive events happening in the world. That's what you'll be paying attention to, collective. I think we've explained it enough. You have a wonderful day, or evening, as the case may be. Enjoy yourself, but not too much. Thanks for stopping by. Like, subscribe, share if you want.